Hi everybody and welcome to our next assessment briefing video. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about our foundation assessments. Okay, so the first thing to know is that we're going to be completing these on Monday the 14th and Tuesday the 15th of December. So that's next week. So you've got dedicated time in class to carry out these assessments with your children. Okay, so the first thing I just wanted to talk about is why the assessment has changed. Okay, so first of all, if you think way back to when we last had a normal academic year, which feels a very long time ago now, we did a lot of work on staff well-being and workload, and one of the things that came up was assessment, okay, and a review of the assessment. Now, along with that, we reviewed planning and marking and all those things, and what we decided altogether was that it was pointless to redesign an assessment system until we knew exactly what tests we were going to be doing, say in maths and English, and what we were doing with our curriculum in the other areas. So we've held off with this so that everything can marry together now and can be really tight. Okay, so that's where this came about. So as part of thinking about the assessment in the foundation subjects, what we've been talking to people about, what Andy and I have been thinking about, is how was our previous system used? Was it working well? Was it giving us the information we need? And really, we all know that the point of assessment is to inform teaching and learning. Okay, it's not just a job that we do to tick off because it's on the events calendar. We want it to give us meaningful information. And if it's not doing, there's no point us doing it, is there? So that's really important. And when we looked at the things we were doing before, what lots of you were telling us was actually we're filling in assessments at the end of units, say in history or geography, and nothing really happens with that information, okay? It tells us something about that child in that unit, say they're really good at the Romans or they're not, but not really about what they're like as a historian, okay? So I'm hoping that what you'll see today is that our assessment is now very much more linked to our teaching and learning in the classroom, okay? And it's giving us information about our children in that subject area. So not just in one topic of history, but what is that child like as a historian overall? And what were they like in Key Stage 1 and what are they now like in Key Stage 2? What you're also going to see, and I think you'll really like, is for subject leaders, they're going to get a really quick overview of the provision in their subject across the school without any additional work. So that means that you as subject leaders can be focused on planning your provision and interventions in your subject, not crunching numbers. Okay, so we're going to go through now. Feel free to pause at any time like you've done on the other videos. And obviously, if you've got any questions, just come and see me and Andy and we'll be able to help you.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to start off with just a reminder of the progression documents because this is where the assessment system stems from, and I think it's really important to remind ourselves why this assessment has been built, but more importantly, how it has been built. So in history and geography, there's two ways to view the progression documents. We can view them by whole school, and this takes our threshold concept. So for instance, it's progression in chronology. Just explains what this concept is, and you can see how it stems from and builds up from early years all the way to year 6. The other way we can view the assessment is by each topic. So for instance, if I go to year 2, Rosa Parks, because it's the example we're going to use today, we can see the 4 areas of history that we are going to assess against. We've got chronology, connections in world history, investigate and interpret to the past, and communicate historically. And we can see under each heading, it's really specific, and that was the work we did last year on exactly what we want the children to learn. And when you're planning for these units, this is what we're using. I know we do have the focus PowerPoints to support our planning, but there is some areas on the focus PowerPoints that we don't need to cover. This is what we need to cover, so it's really clear. It's really important that we stick to this and don't venture off too far, because this is the knowledge we want and skills we want the children to know. So from the Rosa Parks unit, once this has completed, each class will complete the LBQ for their topic. Now, the LBQ is done through a tablet. However, there are paper versions available if you are struggling. You can just come and speak to me or Rianne. If you would like a paper version, I'll point you in the right direction and show you how to get that. It might be useful for, say, year 1 at the moment. Or if we have a technical hitch with the internet next Monday or Tuesday, fingers crossed we won't, we can do that. So to get to the LBQ, 2 different ways. Macefield staff, you can just use your own account because they've been built on my account and I've just linked them to the Macefield school. At the moment, Red Lane staff, unfortunately, it's not letting me do that. However, I have been speaking to them over the last few weeks, and they are trying to build that. So for now, I've created some accounts for year 1 and 2, which is LBQ1 at masefield.bolton.shu.uk. Years 3 and 4 use LBQ2, and year 5 and 6 LBQ3. So once we've signed into this, I'll show you how to do this. This is LBQ1. We need to go to where it says My Question Sets, because these are the question sets that have been built for each of our units. Click on this. You will see on the side we've got year 2 D&T unit. We've then got some art units, etc. But in the keywords, if you just search for your year groups, I'm going to search for Y2 and click search. It will bring up the 3 units that you will be doing an LBQ quiz on. So we've got the year 2 Rosa Parks at the bottom here in history. We've got the year 2 art and also the year 2 design and technology. Now, if I go to the year 2 Rosa Parks and go into view, it will give us a quick overview of the questions that are asked, and you'll see that the way we've built the LBQs is exactly the same threshold concepts and those strands in each unit. So you see the first level is all about vocabulary and communicating historically. As we scroll down to level 2, we've then got some questions on chronology. As we go to level 3, connections in world history, and level 4, investigate and interpret the past. And if we look at our Rosa Parks unit in our progression document, it's exactly the same headers. So the LBQ question sets have been built to test this knowledge. So it should be really easy for you to do with your children, but also get really valuable information and support children understanding this unit even more. So once you've had a quick view, as you all know with LBQ, it's just pressing the start button. I'll just show you how to do that again just to remind you. So scroll down, click the start button, and you'll just have to go in informal class because you won't have a track class linked to this. So as soon as you click informal class, you can add a new class name. So for instance, this might be your class, and you click start. The children will put in the code KMB, and across the top here you'll see they've got 19 questions on each area, each threshold concept within the historical topic. So whilst the children are doing this, or after the lesson, we can start to fill in the assessment. So to fill in the assessment on the drive, we're going to go to the resource drive. It's all staff drive at Masefield, and you're going to go to assessment at Masefield. It's assessment termly. And within assessment termlet, we'll look at history. And now you'll see it looks slightly different because we've actually got an assessment tracker for each cohort. The beauty of this is that it will track children throughout the whole of school in history and geography, art, DT, computing, science, RE, Spanish, PSHCE, a lot of these being built. Because before we did that piece of paper and then it got saved on the system and we never really looked at it again. Now, hopefully this time we'll be able to start tracking these children a bit clearly and start putting that intervention or support in place where needed. So I'm going to use the year 2014, which is the current year 6 class. I'm going to open this up. So at the bottom, you'll see there's an overview, which pulls all the information from each year group. And then we've got 6 tabs for each year group. Now this overview sheet at the front, you don't need to do anything with this. It will automatically generate all the information for you. All the names are already inputted on the left. You'll see we've just got first names because this video is going online. You'll recognise some names, Miss Healy. And you'll see that some of the year 6 information is already filled in. You'll see the historical topics throughout school, and also an end of year assessment grade, which is automatically generated. At the bottom of this, it pulls all this information automatically and gives percentages for children that were emerging and expected within that area of learning. So if I'm going to go and assess a year 6 unit, I'm going to click on year 6. And again, you'll see we've got our 2 units, which are Vikings and Islamic civilization. All we need to do for this is using the LBQ, using evidence in the books, and also using teacher assessment. We'll be able to see the questions the children have done chronology, and we'll just put an E or a B in. So expected for an E, or B if it was connections in world history. Now, as you fill this in, these 4 boxes, you'll see that the overall will automatically generate whether they are expected or below. Now, for a child to be expected, they have to get E's across all 4 areas. So you'll see that, for instance, Mason, in that example, is expected in Islamic civilization, using the LBQ, using his books, using teacher assessment. But unfortunately, in Connections in World History, in Vikings, he wasn't expected. So that's why his overall end-of-year assessment is below. So as we input all this data, again, it automatically pulls it through, and you can see it at the bottom of this Excel. But if we go to our overview slide, you'll see that Mason's information has been automatically filled in. Now, for a subject leader, this is hopefully where it will help you a lot, because in the history subject leader file, we just need to click update because I've added some information. It will automatically pull through. You'll see then it just changed the whole school's information. So as each class inputs their data, this will automatically generate an overview for each year group. So for the history lead, it will then support them where they need to maybe put support, or they need to do some more CPD with staff, or do a club for lower ability children or gifted and talented children as well. Now, where we're going next. So one thing to remember with this is that this is going to be done at the end of autumn too, and this is at the end of, for instance, their Rosa Parks unit, the Viking unit, or the Islamic civilization unit. Now, throughout the year, we will be doing knowledge days, and these knowledge days will come back to this previous learning. This is a working document, this assessment tracker, and it might be that this B does, by the end of the year, turn into an E, because during the knowledge days and after a bit more input or intervention, Mason may have a better understanding of connections in world history. We are going to come on to more information about the knowledge days as we move forward. But in summary, progression documents, that's what we've used to start with. It's really important to go and look at them again. Play your LBQ quizzes at the end of your foundation subject units, and then fill out the assessment tracker using the cohort tracker and the tab for your year group.
I think another thing to just add is when you're making a decision about whether they're an E or a B and you're using all that evidence, obviously a lot of the work that's gone into the curriculum has been about slimming down the knowledge and the information that our children need to know and remember, okay? And what Annie's just shown there is if you hover over those tabs at the top, it will remind you of what the criteria is. So there's your chronology one, your facts about the Vikings. In order to be an E and to be expected, we would be expecting that children can do all of the things within that tab, okay? So all of the criteria confidently, okay? The reason we've slimmed it down is to make it more manageable and more focused, okay? So we would be expecting that the children do know all that information in order to be an E, okay? Because you'll have rehearsed it, you'll have been practicing with your knowledge organisers, it'll have formed part of the homework, okay? And as we go through the year, we'll, as Andy said, the knowledge days will provide us with opportunities to build up some of that knowledge if there are little gaps. But what we would expect is if we were going around talking to children and they have been awarded the expected grade in their unit, that we would talk to the children about that learning and they'd be really confident and would be able to answer really any question about that unit of work based on the progression document and the knowledge organiser.
Perfect. You'll see in all the other foundation subjects, the trackers look very, very similar, just with different colours, of course. If you have any questions, as always, come speak to ourselves. Thank you very much.